Hi there, movie lovers. Welcome back to the Best Movies channel. Today I'm introducing Casablanca. It is a 1942 American romantic drama film. It was directed by Michael Curtiz and starred Humphrey Bogart, Ingrid Bergman, and Paul Henreid. The film was filmed and set during World War II. It focuses on an American expatriate who must choose between his love for a woman and helping her husband. Her husband is a Czechoslovak resistance leader. He needs to escape from the Vichy-controlled city of Casablanca to continue his fight against the Nazis. The screenplay is based on Everybody Comes to Rick's. This was an unproduced stage play by Murray Burnett and Joan Allison. The supporting cast features Claude Rains, Conrad Veidt, Sidney Greenstreet, Peter Lorre, and Dooley Wilson. Stay with me as we explore this poetic and touching film. First, I will briefly summarize the plot of the film. In December 1941, American expatriate Rick Blaine owns a nightclub and gambling den in Casablanca. Rick's Café Américain attracts a varied clientele. These include Vichy French and Nazi German officials, refugees desperate to reach the still neutral United States, and those who prey on them. Although Rick professes to be neutral in all matters, he ran guns to Ethiopia in 1935. He also fought on the Republican side in the Spanish Civil War. Petty crook Ugarte boasts to Rick of letters of transit obtained by murdering 2 German couriers. These papers allow the bearers to travel freely around German-occupied Europe and to neutral Portugal. Ugarte plans to sell them at the club and persuades Rick to hold them for him. Before he can meet his contact, Ugarte is arrested by the local police under Captain Louis Renault. Renault is the unabashedly corrupt prefect of police. Ugarte dies without revealing that Rick has the letters. Then, the reason for Rick's cynical nature enters his establishment. This person is former lover Ilsa Lund. Spotting Rick's friend and house pianist, Sam, Ilsa asks him to play. As time goes by, Rick storms over, furious that Sam disobeyed his order never to perform that song again. He is stunned to see Ilsa. She is accompanied by her husband, Victor Laszlo, a renowned fugitive Czechoslovak resistance leader. A flashback reveals that Ilsa left Rick without explanation when the couple were planning to flee as the German army neared Paris. This embittered Rick. Laszlo and Ilsa need the letters to escape. Meanwhile, German Major Strasser arrives in Casablanca to prevent that. When Laszlo makes inquiries, Signor Ferrari, an underworld figure and Rick's friendly business rival, divulges his suspicion that Rick has the letters. Laszlo returns to Rick's cafe that night and tries to buy them. Rick refuses to sell, telling Laszlo to ask his wife why. They are interrupted when Strasser leads a group of German officers in singing Die Wacht am Rhein. Laszlo orders the house band to play La Marseillaise. Rick allows it. Patriotism grips the crowd and everyone joins in, drowning out the Germans. Afterwards, Strasser has Renault close the club on a flimsy pretext. Later, Ilsa confronts Rick in the deserted cafe. When he refuses to give her the letters, she threatens him with a gun. But then she confesses that she still loves him. She explains that when they met and fell in love in Paris in 1940, she believed her husband had been killed while attempting to escape from a concentration camp. When she learned that Laszlo was alive and hiding near Paris, she left Rick without explanation to nurse her sick husband. Rick's bitterness dissolves. He agrees to help, letting Ilsa believe she and Rick will stay together while Laszlo leaves Casablanca. When Laszlo unexpectedly shows up, having narrowly escaped a police raid on a resistance meeting, Rick has waiter Carl spirit Ilsa away. Laszlo, aware of Rick's love for Ilsa, tries to persuade him to use the letters to take her to safety. When the police arrest Laszlo on a trumped-up charge, Rick persuades Renault to release him by promising to set Laszlo up for a much more serious crime, possession of the letters. To allay Renault's suspicions, Rick explains that he and Ilsa will use the letters to leave for America. When Renault tries to arrest Laszlo as arranged, Rick forces him at gunpoint to assist in their escape. At the last moment, Rick makes Ilsa board the plane to Lisbon with Laszlo. He tells her that she would regret it if she stayed. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life. Strasser, tipped off by Renault, drives up alone. When Strasser attempts to stop the plane and then draws a gun on Rick, Rick shoots him dead. Policemen arrive. Renault orders them to round up the usual suspects. He suggests to Rick that they join the Free French in Brazzaville. As they walk away into the fog, Rick says, "Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship." Next, I will critique the film. With the beginning of America's quiet approach to World War II, a path opened in Hollywood for making propaganda films about American war sacrifices. Hal Wallis, head of Warner Brothers, after realizing that the Epstein brothers' adaptation of the very ordinary play Everybody Comes to Rick's was unlikely to produce anything remarkable, entrusted the rest of the work to Howard Koch. Koch was a talented writer who had worked on The Sea Hawk, Sergeant York, and later on The Best Years of Our Lives and Letter to an Unknown Woman, proving his perfectionism. The result was an extremely focused screenplay. It was both entertaining and filled with sharp irony about the morality of entering war, the boundary between individualism and social responsibility, and the value of memories and sacrifice in love. It was especially rich with intriguing, ambiguous dialogues. However, the desired haste led to the unfinished script being quickly handed over to Michael Curtiz. Curtiz was a Hungarian-born director who, after years as an assistant to Moritz Stiller and Victor Sjöström in Sweden and directing about 60 films since 1919, had come to America in 1926, working under contract for Warner Brothers. His filmography included entertaining and adventurous works like Dr. X, Captain Blood, The Adventures of Robin Hood, Marked Woman, The Sea Hawk, The Wolf of the Sea, and Yankee Doodle Dandy, which he skillfully directed. Curtiz realized that the script with its characters and dialogues only needed a few extraordinary actors to complete it. So he put Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman, not as passionate lovers, but as proud and dignified beings, at the heart of the drama. He surrounded them with a cast of top European actors. Filming began immediately. The result was one of the greatest and most exceptional romantic melodramas in cinema history. It was the outcome of everything: screenplay, dialogue, directing, acting, or a combination of all these plus that magical, inexplicable elixir every great film possesses in providing an intuitive and spontaneous image of a specific time, place, and drama. It became Curtiz's best film and essentially a cult icon of 1940s cinema. Bergman leapt to stardom overnight. Bogart became the most beloved male star of his time, alongside Clark Gable in Gone with the Wind. The song As Time Goes By became eternal, and Casablanca was named the city of lovers doomed to separation. The film was also the third highest-grossing film in America in 1942. It won 3 out of its 8 Oscar nominations: Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Screenplay. Bogart was nominated for Best Actor. Claude Rains for Best Supporting Actor. Arthur Edison for Cinematography. Owen Marks for Editing. Max Steiner for Music. Interestingly, some critics interpreted Casablanca as a metaphor for the White House itself. Rick, played by Humphrey Bogart, was seen as a symbol of Roosevelt. Roosevelt gambled with the decision to enter the war until his hidden nobility and integrity forced him to shut down his casino, support occupied Europe financially at first, and then fight for it. Even more fascinating, during the film's release, Casablanca was taken over by British and American forces. 2 months later, Roosevelt and Churchill met in a conference in that city. Another point is that the fame and popularity of the film led to many similar works. None of them, except Howard Hawks' To Have and Have Not, were as rich, complex, ironic, and, at the same time, lovable as Casablanca. Hawks' choice to remake a mediocre Hemingway story was itself a strange inspiration. He liked making second versions of his favorite themes, such as the front page into His Girl Friday or later Rio Bravo as a response to High Noon. How he saw the potential to transform Hemingway's average story into something like Casablanca remains a mystery. Nevertheless, the similarities between the two works, from general themes to details, are too many to ignore. This is a topic for another discussion. I mention all this to emphasize that the difference between Hawks's and Curtiz's works, the difference between a deeply creative auteur film and an entertaining, sentimental piece by a skilled technician, in no way diminishes the value of Casablanca. The 1 or 2 line plot of Casablanca is roughly this. In Vichy-controlled Casablanca during World War II, an American expatriate nightclub owner must decide whether to help his former lover and her husband, a resistance leader, escape the Nazis. He faces a conflict between personal love and greater sacrifice. And finally, I hope you will see this movie completely and enjoy watching it. I would be happy if you could comment your opinion about this movie.